I did a preview of this, but it kind of really the idea I want to bring this up because neither of you are Lord of the Rings fans. I totally get that, but to me, it's just a question I think that I want to address in insofar as how far are we willing to go for a character that we love in terms of a potentially perceived poor quality figure, right? Because I'm looking at this Sauron. I have a quarter scale Sauron. I love the character. I love Lord of the Rings. I'm a huge fan of it. I look at this Sauron though, and I'm like, I would like to have a 1/6 scale Sauron, but not at any cost, right? Not like this. Not like this. I won't accept this. And this is where I want to bring this up to you guys. Kiko, I want to raise the question to you. At what point do we have to draw the line quality wise and say, you know what? No, I love this character, but this figure is not good. And I'm not going to pay whatever it costs. What about with Wanda, right? Say it was Wanda and say the figure didn't come out that great. Would you still pick it up? Where do you draw the line truly?
It definitely comes down to the actual visuals of it, because there's been, before this Wanda came out, there was multiple third-party ones. There's that one where she's in the like 1970s Halloween outfit where she's doing the smirk and she's like, that's one of the worst figures I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
No chance I'm getting that one. They did a vision where it's got like someone just smack a fly or something.
It sounded like it wasn't me.
Or a clacker. So if it looks stupid, there's no chance it's going in there. And I look around to say, is there another representation of this figure anywhere? And there's multiple Wandas. Okay. So I'm like, okay, definitely not getting that. I'll get the Hot Toys one. We're situated. Then you have characters like this, and you're like, okay, this is a great representation in 1/6 scale. I don't have, but where do I draw the line? That's what this question is. And I think if it looks like it's going to pull your collection down, because there literally is tiers of quality in your collection. Like I originally had Trickster God, of President Loki or whatever. It's night and day between that and the Hot Toys one. And I had to move that one out once President Loki came in, but it was a placeholder because I knew it was coming, but I really liked that like iteration of the character. And I was like, okay, no, we got to get this out, move it on. This shouldn't have been in there in the first place. If it looks stupid, I need to personally stop doing that, because I don't want to fill a hole with something that's very mid-tier, very low quality, because it really pulls down the rest of your collection. Do I really want to put Trickster God next to an art Joker or something like that, or some Artisan Anakin? I mean, come on now. I mean, it's just not going to look like it's the same type of stuff. So with that being said, if you want some type of representation, maybe you look outside to a different scale or a different media. And just because a figure exists doesn't mean you have to have it. So if you're a big Lord of the Rings fan, okay, how can I have, this? And I think, Will, you have it yourself. Let's look for a premium format statue of it. Let's do some mixed media, because that's one thing that really helps collections. If you have mixed media of different sizes, it shows, durability and, really wanting to branch out a little bit. And not everyone can do that for space reasons and for money reasons, whatever it may be. But I would extremely encourage someone to look into other options instead of just saying, okay, I'm just going to put this mid-tier piece of shit on my shelf here. So,
well, that's the thing. I'm with you, Kiko. Like, you don't want to bring down the overall level of your rest of your collection. And I get that, because we've all done it. We've all done it before. Like, we've all bought figures. I love that fucking character. I need it. Even if it's not great. I need, like Natalie, for example, if that Lim Toys Arthur Morgan came out real shitty and you were like, I don't fucking care. I need Arthur Morgan. It just is what it is. But somewhere you got to draw the line, because you know what? I don't know if people know this about me. I fucking love The Boys. I love The Boys. I just think it's an amazing show. I absolutely love it. I'm hugely invested in that universe. I love Homelander. I'd love to have a Butcher, a Homelander, a Soldier Boy, and the other characters too, honestly. But I still don't feel like any company has really done them justice. Like, I look at those figures from So-So. I look at, Toys Era and so forth. I've heard other people say they really love them, but I look at them, I'm just like, they look so third party and just not that great. And I'm not willing to make that exception. But Natalie, where do you really draw the line here, quality wise?
Yeah, that's how I felt about so when I got the Omni-Man figure, or Omnipotent Man is what it was from So-So Toys, I really wanted to get the Unbreakable, right? Or what was Invincible. And when I got the Omni-Man and I pulled it out, I was so excited. I opened the box and he was so stiff and his muscles looked misshapen. And it was such a blatant, obvious quality difference from some of the other ones I have. I look at Thor, who's shirtless or sleeveless, and you can see his definition. And they tried doing that, and I still have Omni-Man just boxed up. Even though I know I'm not going to get rid of it, like I kind of still want to get the other one, but I had it on pre-order with Toys Wonderland. I ended up canceling it with them. And I was like, maybe I'll get it with someone else, but I was so afraid to get that same quality. So I figure I'll just wait till it comes out. We'll see how it looks, because he's so stiff. He doesn't bend. How do you have superheroes that are supposed to fly and they can't even turn their waist? So he's just supposed to be like this, you know, and that to me, part of having all of these and having 6 sale is that you can pose them a little bit. You can make them look a little bit realistic. When Kiko was doing his WWE rant, which I really loved, by the way, I was very entertained.
My mom loved it. My mom was like, "This
fantastic.
is great."
Say Kiko collects, appeases the moms.
Yeah, he does.
But when he was, I was looking at the background, and he had the Bad Batch shelf that he has, and I kept telling him, like, get your head out of the way. I'm trying to see what you've got going on back there. And he had, Crosshair leaning over the other two. These are things that even if you had a dynamic statue of multiple characters, you wouldn't be able to ever change it. And so that's what I love about 6 scale. And so if you've got figures that can barely pose, to me, that it makes it a little difficult, at least on the superhero side. Arthur Morgan or some of the others, they can be stiff. They don't really have to move. This one, however, this is supposed to be, he doesn't have a face. He doesn't have expression. He doesn't do anything, right? He's just really big, and he's supposed to be ominous, and he's supposed to be scary. If he looks cheap and plasticky and he can barely move, then he doesn't do the job. And the job is to be big and ominous and detailed and spiky. And he looks like, what was the figure? Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw.
Yep.
Was very, his clothes were very plasticky. They look like if you bent them. I used to have a Loki helmet for a Loki that I had, and it was a custom helmet that came with the original Dark World one. And it was in a box, the helmet, and it bent. It was like a little plasticky, rubbery. It wasn't even plastic. It was more rubbery than plastic. And I hope you know what I mean by that. And it was in a weird position for a little too long, and it could never be shaped back. To me, it looks like his helmet is going to be that weird plasticky, rubbery. And if it's positioned in a way too long, if you move his arm, it's just going to stick out. It doesn't look like they did a good enough job. So for me, I'd be afraid to put that next to, because what else are you going to pair this with? An in-art figure. Those are the,
right.
That's what's coming out right now. In-art Lord of the Rings. You could put this next to an in-art figure. This is going to look terrible. So it depends on, I guess, what you're going to put it with. If there's only one character you want and it's going to be in a corner and you can't compare it to anything, go for it. But if you're going to put this next to Aragorn or any hot toy, it's not going to look right. So I think I draw the line at the comparison with the figures that it's supposed to be displayed with, and then also the reason you have it. If it's a superhero and it can't pose, not a great idea. If it's supposed to be ominous and it looks like a toy, not a great idea.
Well, that's the thing, Natalie. And with this Sauron, I mean, Weta put one out. It was a statue. It was 6 scale though, and it looks really, really good. So to me, like, you could easily fit that into your collection. It's still a big ass figure. It's still like 25 inches tall. So it's going to have to fit into a display of some kind, but I'd almost rather pay double for that and get the quality. And if you're not willing to do that, then it's probably not a character that you need, right? It's not something that's absolutely essential. And you guys are both dead on. There's in-art Lord of the Rings that people are going to be buying, right? And when you put this next to it, at least in the photos, I haven't seen it in hand, I don't know, but at least in the photos, this Sauron's not really going to stack up too nicely compared to those in-art figures. So it's just going to be like, if you have that Weta though, that thing is super detailed and looks great. And a statue, I've maintained Sauron is a very specific character. I feel like he needs a statue. His armor is too intricate. There's too many spikes and things that could break and movable parts and chainmail. I think he just needs to be a statue, point blank. He's too big. Too many movable parts. Like, it just, that's just my opinion. But I'm glad these companies are trying and doing things, but it just, it's hard to nail.
And I think they're doing this, like you said, specifically to partner with. A lot of these companies do the companion pieces, which I love because you won't get them otherwise. And I think Hot Toys really is scaling back from that. But you can't make a companion piece to an in-art figure if you're not going to do it right, because it's not going to sell.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're going to see, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about where you're willing to draw the line on certain characters. Look, I think eventually the quality line has to be drawn. If it's I think the line really is, to sum it up, is if it brings down the value and the display, your overall display and aesthetic of your other figures and overall collection, I think it's highly sus. That's what I would say.